Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one. Arm drag.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God!
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two. Arm bar.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three. The moss covered. Three-handle family Gradunzo.
Mamma mia!
And now, Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin. Number 4, armbar. I will never retire. I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
Hello there, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends. Welcome to another B Plus podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Monday. You know what that means. It's time for Impact Zone. Welcome to the Impact Zone. Joining me, that familiar laugh, Aiden. How are you, man?
I dreaded those 2 hours of Impact and I'm dying in the heat. I am not good.
Yeah, it's very, very hot. How are you holding up? Last time I saw you, you were getting a little bit choked up. We were at the Wrestle Rampage show. It was Jonah's last show. You were getting all kinds of choked up. And then I've been in and out of chat today in the group chat and the messenger and what have you. And you've seemed a little grumpy. I don't know. Are you holding up all right?
I'm doing good, like with the whole Jonah thing and everything. It was sad, but these things happen. But then I had to put up with this garbage ass Impact bullshit for like the last 2 hours. And it was
I was sitting there watching.
Time.
I was sitting there watching Impact, and we've both just finished watching Impact. So we're recording this Raw straight after we've watched it. And I was sitting there watching it just the whole time, just going do 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 do. Apparently, the Parea's theme song from 2 nights ago is more interesting to me than what we watched. But there was some good in amongst it. I feel like it was a better episode than last week.
Maybe, I don't know. I think the opening match was took over the whole last week's show, but that's about it.
Well, no, there's a couple of other high points that I'm quite a fan of, but I know you won't be because I know that you're a misogynist.
I'm not a misogynist, thank you very much.
You just don't like Jordan Grace, I know, and she got a lot of shine in that match, and I thought she was great. So let's dive into it. We'll start with the opener, as you mentioned, clear match of the night. Lucha Brothers, and it was Taurus. I told you it was Taurus. Lucha Brothers and Taurus taking on LAX and Daga. This was just a fun Lucha 6-man tag, lots of high spots, lots of flippy-doo, and Lucha Brothers and Taurus get the win, but it was highly entertaining.
Yeah, it was super fun and seeing a guy like Taurus of his size diving through ropes and doing flips and shit. I'm just like, who doesn't love that? And he really
impressed me.
I'm a big fan of Daga because I'm like a Dragon Gate nut, so seeing him come teaming with RED into this, yes, RED. What's your name? Josh Matthews, dickhead.
Josh Matthews. Oh, look, at least he tried, okay? He called them Team Red. That's about as good a Dragon Gate reference as you're going to get on Impact Television, I think.
But yeah, like I love all those guys, and they all put on a fantastic match. I thought it was really fun. I thought that should have closed the show, honestly.
Yeah, really, it should have really, but they like to have these matches as their openers. If you look at, we've talked about how Impact seem to be wanting to recapture the ECW days, right? But then if you look at their booking, if you look at how their shows are laid out, it feels so much like mid '90s WCW. You start with the hot cruiserweight matchup, right? And you have a good tag team matchup at the top of the second hour, and then you close out with your main event guys that everyone falls asleep for.
Yeah, I think that's pretty true because I started to fall asleep during that main event. Good lord!
It literally feels like watching Monday Night Nitro from 1995 or six, like right before the NWO era, you know, or even a couple of like 6 or 7 months into the NWO era. To be honest with you, that's what it feels like. But then they're trying to be ECW and be edgy by like, I don't know, having Scarlet Bordeaux kick people into pools, but
And sucking on bananas.
with the cruiserweights. Yeah, but starting with the cruiserweights though it's time tested. You know, it's a solid way to start the show.
But if that's the high point of your show and the rest of the show is shit, then you kind of screwed yourself.
Which it used to be on Nitro, right? Like watching Dean Malenko or Eddie Guerrero or Rey Mysterio come out there and do their thing, like right up to like the very late 90s, early 2000s, where it was like Filthy Animals versus 3 Count. Right, like those were always the best parts of the entire show. Because then later on you had Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell, and you're like, yeah, I'm not really here for this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know. But this was so good. And Lucha Brothers, I'm really happy that they're moving on to something else because we've obviously gotten the news overnight that Lucha Brothers are heading to AEW, at least for Double or Nothing. They've got that handshake agreement with the Bucks, so. I imagine they're gonna be staples of the tag division in AEW.
At the end of the match, they called out LAX for a tag title shot the next week.
Yeah, so this was already filmed. I'm gonna guess Lucha Brothers win, and then their Impact are gonna have to scramble to have them drop the belts before they go to AEW.
Spoiler cast?
No, we don't spoil them. Have you looked at the spoilers? You jerk. You ruined the spirit of the podcast by looking at spoilers. What are you doing,
it was on my Twitter feed. Everyone was just talking about it.
Fair enough. No, we do it live, brother. We do it live. We base it off just what's aired on TV here.
Oh,
so, yeah, no spoilers. But I'm guessing that's the way it's going to go, and Impact are going to have to scramble. So, anyway, this was really fun. You mentioned you're a big fan of Daga from Dragon Gate. Now, I haven't watched as much Dragon Gate as you. You know this.
Yeah.
But I know Daga from Lucha Underground, where I don't think he's necessarily used the best.
Yeah, like
because I've always thought he's very crisp and very like he looks like he's good at what he does, but I've never gotten into him.
Lucha Underground didn't show him very well at all. He's very clean in the ring. He's got a good look on him too. He's like very agile, but he's bigger in size compared to other Lucha guys.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see more of him because he really impressed me in this match. But really, the one that I came out of here loving was Taurus. Hey,
yeah. If people are interested in Daga, go check out Puck and Daga against Flamita and Bandito from one of the Dragon Gate shows. You'll be impressed.
I watched that match, yeah, and I did like Daga there too. I was like, wait, this is the same Daga as Lucha Underground? Okay, cool. Yeah, it's funny how different promotions can just showcase so much more of a person. Just based on the style that they do, like watching Sami Callihan in Impact versus watching Sami Callihan in MLW, or of course Sami Callihan in double AW, fucking hell, Sami Callihan in AAW. I find him more entertaining in Impact and AAW than I do in MLW. Does that make sense? Like just the different things they do in different promotions showcase their talents.
It depends the way they're written as well, because sometimes story can overtake the wrestling, where some feds just focus on the wrestling rather than the story.
Yeah, well, I didn't like Sami Callihan and Jimmy Havoc being tied up together. They're too similar.
Yeah.
So in MLW, I've lost a lot of interest in Sami Callihan. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, this was definitely match of the night, and it peaks here. The show peaks here. But Lucha Brothers challenge for the Impact titles. LAX agree. Then we get a Killer Cross and Moose promo, and Cross is not in good spirits. He's very angry, and he's yelling a lot.
Because Brian Cage injected himself into the hurt business.
I did like that line. Yeah. He injected himself in my business, the hurt business. It felt very 90s WCW. It was like, yeah. But I like that from Killer Cross because he's got that big man vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did enjoy that, but then Moose. What about Moose hitting on Melissa, saying maybe after the show he'll take her out on a date?
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, he's like Moose calms him down, like, because he's just losing his shit, and then he's just like, calm down, be calm. This is how we're gonna win, and then after we win, we're gonna get some tequila, get some drinks, and then I'm gonna take Melissa on a date.
Yeah, that's not gonna do much to endear him to Brian Cage, right?
Not at all, because of that shoot relationship, and
yeah, so which comes into play in the main event, and I want to talk about that when we get to the main event. So let's put a flag on that point that Moose wants to take Melissa out on a date after he wins the tag team match. Conan is backstage with LAX. He tells them that he wants them to keep it professional. We've seen this before.
Yep.
It's very repetitive. Then we get Kiera Jordan versus Ali and Su Yung. We've seen this before.
We've seen this. It's very repeat.
It's so repetitive. It's starting to feel like WWE. Whereas when I first got back into Impact, I was really happy with how fresh they kept things and they didn't repeat their angles 2 weeks in a row. But here we are. So the lights go out. Rosemary replaces Su Yung and Kiera Hogan picks up the win. I did, for the most part, enjoy this match, though. I thought Jordan's power spots were really fun. I know you're not a huge fan of Jordan Grace, but I like her power spots.
I think I tolerated Jordan Grace more than I did Kiera Hogan. She's pretty bad.
Right. Well, Kiera Hogan's a little bit greener, I think. Like, she doesn't have as much experience, but I feel like she has that. I mean, she's the girl on fire, so using this feels like a really bad part. She has a spark, though, that I do enjoy. There's just something about her where I'm like, she could be a pretty big star.
She just looks like a rip-off Ember Moon to me. Just everything about her.
No. I don't see that. She's sort of like to me, I see sort of like a cross between, because she's a little bit more, she's got a little bit more, Ember Moon has that more mysterious vibe, but Kiera Hogan has sort of a girl next door that might be a little crazy as well. So she's kind of like a cross between Alicia Fox and Ember Moon, to me. Because, like, personality-wise, I don't get any Ember Moon vibes from her at all. It's literally just the hair. That's the only reason anyone thinks she's like Ember Moon.
I'm just not sold on her. Like, from what I've seen, she hasn't appealed to me one bit. I thought Rosemary, like, replacing Su Yung after that, like, whole lights going out thing was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was better than what they've done in recent weeks. I do enjoy that. But yeah, no, I think Kiera might grow on us. I think that she's got a long way to go as a superstar, but you know, like Ali has improved a lot since. I'm not a huge fan of some of her acting with this stuff, but Ali's come a long way as a superstar as well.
The mannerisms for Dark Ali are pretty cringy, but I do like the change in character, and she's a lot better of a wrestler now than she was back then.
Yes, so much better. I think working with Rosemary and Su Yung so much has kind of helped her along, you know?
I just want to see where this whole thing is going now, because we're kind of getting repeat of Rosemary just showing up in places.
Yeah, we really kind of need this to advance as opposed to just jogging in spot, which is something that they've become quite good at. Then we move on. Scarlett is training by the poolside with Bobo, and she knocks him into the pool. It's pretty cringy.
Yeah.
So I was a big fan of the Scarlett stuff to begin with, but this one was just like, yeah, I'm not a fan.
I think it peaked with the banana spot, like the banana promo.
I feel like it peaked with her. I want him to go back to the stuff where she's like this real femme fatale that has like a sway over men, like an almost magical power to get men to do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and they're just, I don't know what they're doing. It's odd, but yeah. Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards take on the Rascals, Wentz and Dez.
Change your names back, please. Please.
Yeah, so they are no longer Zachary Wentz and Desmond Xavier, which, by the way, Desmond Xavier is a badass fucking name.
I like the name Zachary Wentz as well. Like, it just flows. You go like Zachary Wentz, Desmond Xavier, and Trey Miguel, not Trey. Like,
every time they say Wentz too, I'm thinking of Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy.
That's where he got the name from as well. Like, he's open about that. But yeah.
But that's fine. But Zachary Wentz, I don't get immediately the Pete Wentz vibe. But when they're just calling him Wentz, and I see the hair flopping in front of the face, I'm just like, look at this emo motherfucker. Go back to 2006. Like, it's just like,
But Josh
what's going
Matthews
on?
just saying Wentz all the time was like irritating through that whole match.
I almost forgot that his name was Zachary. I messaged you.
Yeah.
I messaged you. I'm like, what's his name again? This is bumming me out.
And with this match, I don't get what they're doing with the Rascals because they had them in like a super long match against Desi Hit Squad, which should have been a lot shorter. This match, Des and Wentz like control pretty much most of it, but then they have them lose. I'm like, do you want to build these guys up? Do you want to like keep them in one spot? I have no idea.
It's incidental, really. The loss was incidental as far as Impact are concerned because the whole thing was advancing the Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards story, where Eli Drake is trying to tell Eddie Edwards, you don't need to be hardcore.
I think they could have done that with
a
different
wrestler.
team, honestly.
Yeah, me too. So this is where I worry about the Rascals. So the match finished with, of course, Eli Drake using Kenny after telling Eddie Edwards, you don't need to use Kenny, right? So there's the whole hypocritical element, but they actually worked together quite well as a team. I really enjoyed the match overall. Yeah. But yeah, having the Rascals lose, they're becoming... There are people on the Impact roster that I worry about are the Rascals and Willie Mack. Willie Mack seems like he's become the new Trevor Lee, where they'll just trot him out when they need to advance someone else's story, and he will almost always lose.
Yep.
And the Rascals are the new Cult of Lee. I wouldn't be surprised if Willie Mack and the Rascals end up teaming up somehow eventually. I think the only one that they actually have some kind of solid plan for is Trey Miguel. I feel like Trey Miguel may end up with a run towards the X Division title at some point, but I don't know. It doesn't look good for the Rascals, unfortunately.
Yeah, because like you said, they're focusing on Trey right now. Like he beat Ethan Page. He's wants to face Rich Swann. They had him in Ultimate X and everything. But with Wentz and Dez, they had him lose to Lucha Bros, had a super long match against Desi Hit Squad, and now lose to Eddie and Eli. I'm just like, where do you want these guys to go?
Well, if you're being competitive with Desi Hit Squad and losing to makeshift tag teams in their first match together, you're Cult of Lee. That's all you are to this company, and that sucks because Cult of Lee were a pretty decent tag team too, and that's why they've split. Like it's people are leaving because they don't want to be used like this. And that's the beauty of the wrestling landscape in 2019, whether it's Dean Ambrose, whether it's Caleb Conley. If you don't like the way you're being used, there are other places that will want to use you a better way. So it's a beautiful thing, but also I just feel bad because Rascals are new here. They've just signed a contract and it doesn't look great.
Hopefully they can see what they're doing and they're like, oh shit, maybe we better fix this. Because they have all these cool promos, they've hyped them up so much, and now they're just, I don't know.
That could be the theory too, is these guys get their pop from the promo and we don't need to have them win matches, which, can be a solid theory. Like someone like The Miz doesn't need to win matches, right? You could even argue Eli Drake. He doesn't necessarily need to win matches because he can get his heat back on the microphone. But
their promos are more the comedy to the comedy side, so maybe they just see them as comedy wrestlers.
They see them as comedy wrestlers and lower card guys. It sucks because they're a really, really good tag team. That Hot Fire Flame is one of the best finishing moves in the business.
You mean the push
for my money, anyway. Sorry, Josh Matthews. The push moonsault. Yeah, so
promotional consideration paid for by the following.
We are all WWE fans here. It's why we're here, listening to this show and spending inordinate amounts of hours consuming, complaining, and just generally eating, sleeping, and breathing professional wrestling. But if you want to take that to the next level, the only place to do it is WrestleMania 35 in the city so nice that they named it twice New York. And our new friends at All Aussie Travelers are going to help you make that happen in the best way possible. They are new to the wrestling travel game, granted, but they have over 15 years experience in sports and event tours between the US and Australia, so you're in good hands. They want to offer you an exclusive WrestleMania package, including return flights to the USA, 6 nights at the New Yorker Hotel right next to Times Square. And the thing that sets these packages apart are the VIP suites that AAT have secured for WrestleMania. So that's, of course, the Raw after WrestleMania. So not only are you going to go to the Hall of Fame, not only are you going to go to WrestleMania 35, but for NXT TakeOver, SmackDown Live, and the Raw immediately after WrestleMania that next night, you are going to be in an exclusive VIP suite that is not normally available to the public. But AAT, they got it locked down. They got it waiting for you with your name on it. You are in private entrance, you are in private toilets and bar, as well as an unparalleled view in the most comfortable seats in the house. You can experience WrestleMania weekend like never before, all at really competitive prices. So head over to All Aussie Travellers on Facebook, hit that like button, send him a message, send an email to Jack, that's JAAK, at allaussie.com.au, and let them know the B Plus sent you. Anyway, moving on. What do you think of the story, though, with Eli and Eddie Edwards?
I don't get it. Unless Raven comes in at some point, I'm not sure what to think.
No, because I like the way it's going, because trying to convince Eddie Edwards that he can be a wrestler again, because he's a good wrestler. I like that angle. I do. But, yeah, I just don't like the casualties.
Maybe.
Bring in a jobber tag team.
Well, Eddie Edwards got announced for Pro Wrestling Noah, so maybe they could use that to play into the storyline a bit.
Yeah, potentially. If they have the deals to air the footage and stuff, they could... Yeah, always the chance. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see where the story's going, and I'm enjoying the story, but I'm really bummed out that the Rascals are falling by the wayside. Moving on, Tessa Blanchard cuts a promo on Twitter about getting her title back when she gets back from suspension at Uncaged. Isn't it funny how suspensions always end right before the big shows?
Yep.
It's very convenient. Then Rich Swann finally... Talk about treading water where we're just running in place with a story. They did like 3 weeks of the same spot with Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. Now we finally get a bit of the history with Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. He's like, yeah, he was like a big brother to him, way back when he started in the business. But over the years, he learned that Sami Callihan will just take the best of you and sap it away from you and use it for himself. And that's what he does with his guys with OVE, right? Like, they're just there to protect him. It's not about the family. It's about him. And that's not family, right? So I thought this was a really good spot.
Yeah, what he was saying, like, Callahan will always have a place in his heart, but what he demands is not something family does. It's like, he loves him, but he's not going to join in on their games and all that kind of stuff. He doesn't want to be the bad guy.
Right, it's an interesting dynamic.
It's good. I think maybe Callahan might brainwash him at some point into joining. Maybe he turns heel later on, but it's an interesting story for the way it's going.
All right, Vince McMahon, we'll brainwash him. We'll and then he'll turn on him in a cage match. No, it's I want this to be one and done. Defend the title. Rich Swann wins. Sami Callihan gets his heat back on the mic, and then Rich Swann moves on to Trey Miguel. That's where I see it going. Then we get Taya upping the ante and making it a street fight for her title because reasons.
Because backstage brawl. That's it.
Why? I don't know. But if you're the champion, why do you, unless you think that you're not a better wrestler than the person who is challenging you, you should not be switching it to a street fight. Like, this to me says that Taya is scared of facing Tessa Blanchard in a regular match.
And then when she's getting her ass beat, then Gail Kim can kind of help her again without getting in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. This to me has Taya as the heel. This is not, I don't know. This is weird to me, but I guess we're getting a street fight in a couple of weeks.
I thought the promo was pretty cool. Tessa's really good on the mic.
Yeah, Tessa's really good at everything.
That is true. That is very true.
She may very well be the best women's wrestler in North America.
Fact.
Right? Because, I think Japan is a whole different beast, and it's very hard to rank them against each other. But then, as well, although it's pretty competitive in America right now, Becky Lynch is doing fantastic things. You can't argue with Charlotte's skill. There's a lot of strong talent out there. But yeah, Tessa Blanchard, I imagine she's winning the title back in 2 weeks.
I hope so. I really do.
Anyway, then we move on to a preview of the World Cup, which this is the first we're hearing of it. Fallah Bahh and Psycho Clown. So in 2 weeks, we're going to see a World Cup match with Team Impact versus Team AAA. Now, I caught who was on the AAA team. It's Psycho Clown with Aerostar, Puma King, and Vikingo, right? Which, yay, we get to see more Vikingo. Very happy about that. But did you catch who was on Team Impact?
Oh, yeah. Sami Callihan, Eddie Edwards, Eli Drake, and Fallah Bahh.
That's such a random match.
I know. Like, why is that Team Impact? Like, throw the Rascals in there, maybe.
I want Team Impact to lose. I'm much more a fan of Team AAA. But yeah, Fallah Bahh, Psycho Clown. Psycho Clown gets the win. Why did Fallah Bahh go for the mask? He's not a heel.
You're asking me about continuity. I don't get it.
He worked heel, right? Or was that the only spot that he worked heel?
That's the only spot he worked
really
heel.
the only spot.
He's just a big guy. Like, he done big guy spots. Like, that dive off the apron he done was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Fallah Bahh has actually sort of won me over a little. I hated Fallah Bahh to begin with, but when he actually wrestles and doesn't do the panda roll bullshit,
Oh, come on.
you know I love comedy spots. You know I love comedy wrestling. I mean, look, I watched Chikara, right? Like, I'm willing to forgive slow motion hand grenades and time travel in wrestling. Come on, right? The Paradise Lock is one of my favorite moves.
But you don't like panda rolls.
But the panda roll, I don't know. It just, to me, it's like, oh, my gimmick is I'm fat. And it's like, okay, that's, I don't know. I can't get behind it. I don't know why. And I respect, and I've said this to Jay as well, I respect that it's irrational. I accept it. I acknowledge it. It's a complete irrational thing that I have where I'm not a fan of it. And I can't explain why. Maybe there's something from my childhood. I don't know.
Maybe Fallah Bahh should just work like Hummer from Big Japan.
Yeah. Well, he kind of did in this match,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I mean. Like, use his size and power. Like, he could get over as one of the...
Yeah.
In a way, he could get over like Congo Kong, if you remember him.
Yeah, because what he does normally is use his stupidity as a joke. And that can work, right? Like when Grado uses his stupidity as a joke in wrestling matches, I kind of like it. But for Fallah Bahh, I just don't like it because he can be so much more. Like, this match was so much better. But yeah, Psycho Clown gets the win. I thought this was a pretty decent match again. So
Really
I'm looking
short,
at this week
too.
as much better than last week. It was short, yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that now that I look back over it. Like, I thought they had a cool little match. I wish it was a bit longer. I don't know what's with all the good matches being short and the long matches being shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of, Johnny and Cage are backstage and they have tension. Ooh.
I don't
Like, okay,
buy
yeah,
Johnny
we-
Impact
they don't
as
like
the
each other.
angry face. Like,
He's not a face. I don't buy him as a face at all.
he tries too hard and just don't screw me over, all this kind of crap. I'm like,
But he doesn't seem like a face at all because he's like, he promised Cage that he'd get a title
Yeah.
shot, right? And then he went back on his word. He gave it the title shot to someone else. And then they're backstage and he's like, oh, well, you got your match, okay? Are you happy now? Like,
ironically, it's called Uncaged.
yeah, and they're like, oh, they even named the show after you. Are you happy? How is he the face? How are we meant to root for this guy? I guess we're not anymore because Brian Cage. I don't know. There's no continuity at all.
Exactly. That's what I keep saying. Continuity. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it used to. It used to. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. Come on, Impact. You can do this. I believe in you.
Brian Cage finishes the whole promo with "Don't screw me over."
Yeah. So anyway, we move on. Johnny Cage, Moose and Cross.
Johnny Cage. This isn't
it's
Mortal Kombat.
No, I'm saying Johnny and Cage. You know what I'm... Johnny Cage and Moose Cross. That's their names now, because that's what I have in my notes. No, so Johnny Impact and Brian Cage take... Which, by the way, Johnny Impact was like, oh, they even named the show after you. Mate, your name is Johnny Impact!
Shit.
They changed the company to name it after
That's
you.
his whole thing. Everywhere he goes, he's got the company name. Like,
I know.
now he's like Johnny Defy or something in Defy Wrestling.
He's Johnny Defiant. Yeah, it's Johnny something. Anyway, does that mean when he comes out for World Series Wrestling, he's Johnny World?
Adrian Renero, if you're listening, please don't do this.
No, please do it, Johnny World. Johnny World and Cage take on Moose and Cross, and the match is just there. There was nothing really special
I
about the
didn't
match.
rate it, honestly.
It was
Snooze fest.
Yeah.
For me.
I feel sorry for someone like Killer Cross being caught up in this story because I feel like he could do so much more. I feel sorry for Brian Cage being caught up in this because it felt like he could do so much more.
I mainly feel sorry for Cross because they built him up to be this big, dangerous heel with the whole who is X and then just squashing all his opponents, and now he's like back to back. He's been screwed over. I'm like, are they turning him face? Is he just going to be angrier heel? I don't know.
Yeah, I have zero idea. But then, the ending of the match comes with a breakdown between Cage and Impact, which we always knew there was going to be a breakdown between Cage and Impact. But was I the only one who thought the breakdown was stupid?
Was that like with the disaster kick and then the lariat thing?
Yeah, so Impact goes and accident. He goes to hit the disaster kick and he misses and he hits Brian Cage. So then Brian Cage goes to hit the
and
lariat.
gets Cross instead.
But gets Cross instead, which is like, okay, cool. So they can win the match here. But then Moose spears Johnny Impact when Johnny Impact was like, why did you just try to hit me? So Cross rolls out, and then Moose spears Johnny Impact and gets the win.
Cage just lets him spear him.
Yeah, Cage just watches. I mean, let him spear him for sure. But then when he goes for the pin, pick him up, hit Weapon X, and go home, you know? Because this is the guy who said after he wins the match, he's going to take your girlfriend out for fucking dinner, bro. Like, you have a reason to not let him win this match, even though you want Impact to lose. Not only that, but now he can insert himself into your title match, potentially, because he's got a pin over the champion. Letting him pin your teammate was the stupidest move you could possibly make.
Maybe he didn't hear that backstage promo, and then he finds out after the show.
Either way, you still want your team to be in the W column, even if you hate your partner, right? Because being in the loser column, that you're a loser. You lost that match too. And he just stood there and let it happen, and I thought it was dumb. The whole thing was dumb. It upsets me because there's so much potential
Maybe
there.
now that Moose has the pin, like, they're probably going to do a multi-man title match somewhere along the line. All these guys have pins over Mundo and so on. All these guys have potential shots, so I don't know.
He's an awful face, and he's an even worse fighting champion. It's bad.
Maybe they should have just kept it on Austin Aries.
Yeah, at this point, it's been booked very poorly, in my opinion. But you know, I'm just a mark with a mic, so what the hell do I know? Anything else you want to talk about before we put a pin in it there?
Nah, I have no words.
I guess next week we have Puma King versus Sami Callihan, which looks like it could be a really good match. It'll probably go about 7 minutes, and LAX versus the Lucha Brothers is next week as well for the titles. And then 2 weeks at Uncaged, there's the World title match, there's the Women's title match, and the World Cup match, which all look pretty good. So the Uncaged show should at least be worth watching.
Uncaged, and then you got like Rebellion like right after. That's what it's called.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do to build to it, but come on, Impact.
I used to love you.
You were doing so well. Yeah. You were doing so well for a good three months or so there, 3-4 months, and it's just slowly gone downhill. And I want you to get that magic back. Maybe with Raven and is it Raven and Dreamer that are stepping up to the plate creatively? Maybe. I mean, they both worked under Paul Heyman. Raven is a genius, so
Raven just comes out
maybe they
and
can
hits the Raven effect on someone. Like,
if every match ends with Raven just destroying people, I'm okay with this. Bring back Raven's flock.
That'd be pretty cool.
Or the nest.
Impact if,
Well, they called it the nest.
Yeah.
He had a nest. He had a nest at one point,
he had
right?
the nest and the flock.
Yeah, wasn't CM Punk in the nest?
No, CM Punk was in. She faced Raven for like 2 weeks in a row, and then just never came back.
Because CM Punk, he was with Raven in Impact and feuding with Raven in Ring of Honor.
I'm having a mental blank. I forget.
From memory. I notoriously have a really bad wrestling memory, but I remember the first time CM Punk caught my attention, really. Like, I'd heard about the Punk and Hero matches, but I'd never watched them. But after watching Punk and Raven, I was like, I need to watch everything I can from this CM Punk guy. And he had, I remember on Impact being like, what the hell's the tattoo that they keep blurring out? Because he had the Pepsi tattoo, right? And they had to blur it out. I'm like, what the fuck is his tattoo? Why is his arm blurry? This guy just has a blurry arm. It's part of his gimmick. It's great. Anyway, we're talking nonsense now. I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestler on Twitter because wrestling would have fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. Hit us up on the Patreon if you want to join our mission of Watch Global, Support Local. And thank you so much for listening.
Hold one. Arm drag.
You're not doing this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
So, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it. Dummy.